Hey there, folks, it's me, your old pal, Officer Hankschlitz the Game Cop, coming to you and bringing you all sorts of fun ideas and cool tips and tricks so that you can share with your friends and get them to subscribe to my video and patronize me and give me all of your precious dollars so I can get out of this crippling debt that I find myself in. But well, we don't need to talk about that right now. It's neither here nor there. Let's talk about something fun, not my crippling financial problems, but something more lighthearted. Like the world of film, isn't that fun? Oh, we all like to go to the movies and eat the popcorn and tell other people, shush, I'm trying to watch this scene. Ryan Gosling's trying to tell me the secret of the ooze, if you don't mind. And I enjoy films. As you might have noticed, I can't shut up about them, but I also have problems with films. A lot of the movies I see stink, and the reason they're not good is because they confuse me. It's not that I have any sort of moral problems with them or I disagree with the politics or anything like that, but it's just what I'm seeing on the screen doesn't make sense. And I feel like a lot of filmmakers, they don't take their audience into consideration. They're too busy being artsy fartsy, awful, disgusting, degenerate human beings and thinking of the awful sex acts they can commit once they're done on set to be making a cohesive, understandable film. And so what I'm doing here is speaking to you people, you awful Hollywood monsters, and hoping that you take note and listen to my ideas for what makes a film good. And just these are just some standard film making tricks and tips so that your audience knows what's going on in the movie. They can follow your story, and you're not having you're not taken out of the experience at all. You can just watch the movie and not have your mind be whipped about by the confusion about how these events came to be. All right. If you follow these tips and tricks, everyone will love your movie, and they'll be saying what a finely crafted piece of art this is. And it's just that easy. So here's Hank Schlitz of the Game Cops. Top 5 filmmaking tips so that you can make a nice, good film that makes sense and everybody can enjoy. And tip number one for shooting a film is, of course, establish the feet. Now, too many movies I see, they have a character walk in, and how are they walking in? Well, just like so, if I'll demonstrate. Ducka, 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 duh. Now I'm in frame. Now, did you notice something when I walked in there? You didn't see something, did you? That would be my feet, all right? Now, I can't move the camera around here because I'm the only person doing this thing. I don't have any help, thank you very much. But if I was working on a nice movie set, I could very easily show the characters' feet and make sure that I establish that these characters have feet and they have legs and they can be walking and they're not floating torsos, okay? Too many movies, the character walks in and it just looks like it's a bunch of floating wastes, and I don't understand how that's possible. I'm like, I'm immediately taken out of the film because I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Do these people have... Are they ghosts? Did they have just like a little tail coming out, a little floaty tail, like Casper? Are they have some sort of anti-gravity device where their legs used to be? I'm all confused. And it's a sci-fi picture, it's a horror picture, and more often than not, it's just like a standard romantic comedy, and the director just hasn't done his due diligence and shown me that all these characters indeed have legs that they're walking around on. I would very much appreciate it if before a character walks in, you show the feet, you show that they're ambulatory so that I know that they're not some sort of creature or abomination, legless abomination floating into the screen. It's very confusing and disorienting to me, and I'm sure to many other film watchers as well. But I don't hear this expressed enough that they need to show the legs. So tip number 1, show those gams, baby, so that I know that my favorite actors have not been what's the paraplegics, or whatever. They're not gonna, they have legs and they know how to use them. They're not floating around like creepy ghosts. Okay, I don't want to be scared of my movies right off the bat. Okay, tip number 2. Tip number 2 is, of course, you have to have plenty of shots in your film of people parking the cars and backing out of the parking lots that they parked into previously, because a lot of times a character just shows up at a place and I'm like, how did he get here? Did he walk? Did he crawl? Did he take a unicycle? I have no way of knowing, and my mind is just racing with the possibilities. If a filmmaker would just do his damn job and show me how the characters got here and make sure that I know that they're coming into a car and that they've parked safely, that they're not going to be, suddenly swept out of the scene because someone needs to tell them that they're parked in an inappropriate zone. These are the things that my mind considers when I don't have the filmmaker doing his job and showing me all of the important points of details in these films. Okay, like Like if I know a character parked their car and they came in from a designated parking area, then I'm much more comfortable and I can focus on the scene at hand. If I don't see the characters parking and eventually leaving the parking lot, I'm not going to be able to understand what's going on. I have no context for how these people got here. All right, and then I'm just asking questions that you're apparently not even concerned with, okay? So if you want a cohesive film where I know what's going on the whole time, you got to make sure that you show the legs and that you show the legs that they use to push the gas to get the car to put it in the parking lot so I know how they got to this scene in the first place, okay? Every scene in a movie needs at least to have attach these things to it so that you know what's going on. But too many films they just don't even pay attention to these. They just think, oh, you just figure it out on your own. Okay, well, I can't. Okay, and I hope I've illustrated to you that there's a lot of potential possibilities going on in these very vague scenarios that you've set up. If you want me to understand what the hell you're trying to say in your highfalutin film, Mr. Hollywood director person, why don't you make it easier for me to understand? Why not? Okay, so we've established that, but now we need to know what time of day it is, right? So tip number 3, when you're having a transitional moment from day to night, you gotta show that transition. I don't appreciate it when the characters are talking and whatnot, and then the next scene it shows and it's dark outside. I'm like, when did this happen? I've never had that experience where I was standing outside and then it just suddenly turned dark. That used to happen in the old days, and when that happened, they would start killing each other and raping babies because they thought they had displeased the gods, okay? And that's apparently what's going on in these films. I'm thinking, oh, it's suddenly gone dark, the world is ending, this is an apocalyptic scenario, but most of the time it's just supposed to be later in the day, and I don't appreciate that you're like making me think there's some sort of like insane stellar event going on, but it's just a typical transition from day to night. And I've seen that happen. I've stared at the sky all day long and seen what happens when the sun turns into the moon, and that's what you need to show. You need to have an establishing shot that shows a time-lapse footage, but not too fast so our eyes don't get confused, of showing the sun cresting the curvature of the earth and then turning into the moon as it does every day. The sun turns into the moon. And, just to emphasize what's going on, I would appreciate maybe a little sound cue, like when the sun turns into the moon, then you hear a wolf howl goes, ow, ow, and then we all know it's nighttime. There's no way, any confusion. We all know it's turned to night. There's a scene that showed it turning to night, so we don't have any confusion about the state of affairs and whether or not it's just a sort of unnatural nighttime scenario, some sort of evil apocalypse is happening. Now I know it's just, it's the wolf howl, now it's night. You do the same thing with the daytime. If you have a character go to sleep, and then the next scene it's morning, I'm going to be all like, what happened? Are we in Alaska now? Is there no darkness anymore? Am I watching Insomnia starring Al Pacino and Robin Williams? No, I'm not most of the time. So I'd appreciate if you show the moon turning into the sun and show a cockatrice go cock-a-doodle-doo so I know that it's daytime, okay? Stop confusing me so much. It's just a couple of seconds of your time, a little bit. Do your due diligence. Show this transition of the daytime so that we know what time of day it is. Is that so much to ask? My God. And tip number 4 is, of course, you have to show the character's emotional states. And I think that, the way they do things nowadays with the cameras and showing the face and the hands and the neck and all the other external parts of the actors is good enough, but a lot of times I don't think it's illustrated enough to me. And I know that there's a lot of stuff going on inside in the body when there's people going through emotional states that I don't get to see. So I'd very much appreciate if it became more of a standard thing that we could establish characters' emotions and make sure that we can very much follow what's going on by having some sort of, speaking of internal, we could have seen that coming if I had a camera down my throat like I'd like these actors to have. Just a nice internal camera floating around in various parts of their body so we can see what's happening with their stomach and their throat and their lungs and all those parts. I want to see how their blood pressure's doing. If I see all that, if I see like the capillaries expanding, then I'm like, oh, this guy's getting kind of stressed out. He's getting a kind of flight response happening. Something's about to happen. Maybe a fight, maybe a flight. Who knows? But now you've established it by having this internal view and having, the breathing's getting faster, the sphincter is tightening. Look at that. That might indicate something. But, if you're relying just on me seeing the actor's face and their skin and expecting me to understand their emotional state just based off of that, well, not everyone is going to be Sir Anthony Hopkins, okay? Not everyone's going to be a Nick Nolte that's going to be showing you all the emotional states so vividly on their facial parts. Sometimes these actors, you'd really be selling it a lot better if you had the camera on the inside showing what's going on there. So that's my fourth tip for you guys is you want to really sell the emotional depth, you want to sell what's going on with these guys on the inside, then actually get on the inside. Don't be so afraid, Mr. Director Man. Okay, and final tip number 5, film technique for making great blockbuster movies is, of course, show the crew. Every single movie I walk into, they don't do this, and I don't understand why. You have to establish that your movie is a movie so that I'm not confused. I don't know if I've just walked into some intimate window that's very rapidly changing the scenery to fit narrative structure. I'm very, very confused by this. I'm never sure if when I walk into a movie, if I turn on my TV, that what I'm seeing is actually a movie. And I would appreciate it if there'd be some point in the movie where they would just kind of pause for a second and just kind of pull back like that so you can see all the camera crew and all the guys and they can wave to you and say, hey, Gray, don't worry, this isn't real, it's all just a fun movie. Because a lot of times, I'll see something on the screen and it'll affect me very deeply, and then it's not till the end that I see the credits and I see that, oh, this was a film, this wasn't real. And I'm like, well, you could have done something to establish that from the beginning. I've got all this feelings inside me, all this, I'm all upset, and I, because I've taken this at its face value. I've trusted you, Mr. Filmmaker. I did what you asked me to do, and I came here and I followed you. But you didn't, you jerked me around. You didn't deal honestly with me. And now here we are, and I've got all these falsely applied emotions inside me. And don't you have some responsibility for that? But you don't seem to think you do. So I would appreciate if you take on that responsibility and just pull out. All you got to do is just show me it's a movie. In every movie, just establish, if some movies do it, like every now and then I'll see like a little boom mic come in, or, like someone kind of walk in from the side that clearly wasn't supposed to be there. And I appreciate that, because I'm like, oh, thank goodness it's just a movie. This isn't, I'm not really watching a bunch of teenagers getting raped and murdered in a log cabin. So it's very useful. I mean, I appreciate that, but a lot of times that's not enough, like you see a little bit of it droop inside, or you see, it's almost like it's on accident. I'd appreciate if they would have a, much more purposeful, much more clear display of the crew so I can know what's going on. And that'll conclude this list for today. I think it was a really, really good one. I think there's a lot that Mr. Hollywood Director Man could learn from these techniques, and if you made these movie techniques a part of your repertoire, and you make sure that you put them in every time. Show the legs, show the sun, show the cars, show the organs. You're going to have a much more discernible, understandable, and appreciated film. And I think that's what you want, Mr. Director Person, with your highfalutin ideas about what everyone should be doing and how we should be treating women and whatnot. You want to say all that to me, but you don't want to make it clear. What am I going to do? Just, you want to be a success, you listen to Hank Schlitz. People have learned that by now. And I hope you've learned something today too, even if you're not a Hollywood director. But this was not intended for you if you're not, so please stop watching. I'm Hank Schlitz, the Game Cop, and I'll probably be back with another list before you know it. Bye, Game Cop.